What's up, guys? This is Hernandez with Kirk Customs. Today I'm going to be replacing my front shocks on my 92 Jeep Cherokee. I am replacing them because the shocks that are on it are definitely way too short. And I noticed that because when I take it off-roading, it definitely does not flex like a long arm should. Now let's see, I'll show you the shocks that are on it now. It's got a lot of exposed piston on it already, so it doesn't really have much room for down travel. I'm not too worried about the up travel in this, but the down travel is always important to me, especially with the style of wheeler I am. So let me cut over to that. Okay, so there's the shock that's in it now, and you can see here how much piston is already exposed. So it has a lot of up travel, no down travel, which, I mean, has its benefits and lack of benefits. So I am running an 8-inch setup here, and it is on a long arm kit as well. So let's see what happens here. All right, guys, so I got the shocks out here, got the Jeep ready, gonna swap these shocks out. So the shocks I picked are some Rubicon Express twin tubes. I know they're not the monos, they're not as good of a shock as I'd like to put in it, but they're the shocks I could find that had a proper strength, stroke and everything that I was looking for. I wanted about 32 inches extended and about 16 to 18 inches collapse, which is what these are. 14 inches of stroke in the shock. These are the Rubicon Express RXT 3211Bs. Now these are actually for a Jeep Wrangler YJ. They are post to center mounts, so they do carry the posts, and I can mount them in the stock positions. Now, should I break these shocks, I'm going to go ahead and go loop to loop, but as of right now, these are the best shocks I could find at the bore and stroke. I could have bought the Bilsteins for a little extra, but kind of tight on money. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna install these shocks on the ground. We'll see how this goes. Here we go. This isn't hard for you guys doing this at home. 2 bolts on the bottom here for the bar pins. Pop the hood. There's usually a 13 or 14 millimeter up under here. That's all it takes. Pretty simple test. Okay, pulling off the top post here. Luckily these ones are coming out pretty easily. Normally I kind of fight the shocks like to spin if they've been in there for a while, but this Jeep was relatively well taken care of, so seemed to be pretty easy procedure so far. Okay, so got that out. So there, and I got the lower bolts out. So what I like to do is just pull this guy down, and voila, there we go. So as you can tell from this shock, it definitely probably needed some replacing anyways. It is not expanding back out, which probably explains a lot of the 1, travel issues, and 2, flex issues I was having. So there's that. I mean, fully extended here. Let's see what I can do about this. Fully extended. So that's fully extended. Let me get my tape and we'll measure. We're at about 26 inches, and that's measuring from center to the bottom of the top head here. So that's about 26 inches we're getting right there. The body of this thing's about 14.5 inches. And for 8-inch lifts, they're calling for at least a 16 collapse body, and between 29 and 31 to 32. I'm running the extra inch just because that's what I want to do. But yeah, there we go. There it is. So 26. Let's pull out the new one and see what that one's measuring. Alright, so you'll notice already, it's kind of hard to see. Maybe not. The body of this shock is much longer already. So that's going to be a way bigger improvement This is a monotube shock. You can notice the size of the body is a lot bigger. It's got better valving in it. This is just a twin tube for now. And like I said, I'm gonna run this till I break it. Then I'll go ahead and switch this out for the twin tube for a monotube, and I'll do the conversion kits for eyelet, center mount to center mount, and get away from this stem mount here. But as of now, this'll get me by as the time being. All right, guys, here's a side by side. As you can see, the new Rubicon Express shock twin tube is significantly longer. About, I'd say, 6 inches longer at least. So that's gonna be a good thing for me off-road. I am running a long arm kit, lockers 488s, so they're about 6 inches longer, about from the base to the base difference, which is gonna be way better because I had so much exposed shock. I mean, this thing was almost sitting like this, you know, from just sitting on the pavement. Not a very long body, not a very long shock at all. These are 6 to 8 inches. I believe they may be a little bit longer. Like I said, they came out for a YJ, and that part number on these guys is RXT3211B. So those are ones I found out of a magazine. One of my reps, Nikki Smalls, helped me find it. It's for a, like I said, it's a shock for a YJ. It's just so happens to be stem to center mount, so I can run my bar pin. I do have a bar pin eliminator kit on the way here. I haven't gotten it yet. I do want to drive my Jeep around for a couple days, even though I have that thing. So I do like driving my Jeep around, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in and wait for those bar pin eliminator kits for the front to come in, and we'll go from there. All right, so now I got to put these bar pins in the bottom of these shocks. I prefer to use a little bit of white lithium and just press them in there. It's really not too bad. I know people tend to fight them. They do have a weird body shape to them, so they are kind of hard to put in, but a little bit of white lithium and they go right in. A little bit of white lithium here. Now, I do believe that these Rubicon Express shocks may come with polyurethane. I'm not entirely too sure. I didn't look too much into it. It could be rubber for all I know, so it's kind of hard to tell. But that also makes it easier or harder to put in these bar pins. So if you notice, they always do this. They make the bar pin way wider than the opening for the hole here. So that always makes it a challenge. So just try to be careful, put some grease on there so you don't tear these boots up when you're trying to install these things. So here we go. So there we go. Bar pins in. Shocks ready to be put in. Just gotta set up the top hats for the top mount here, and the other ones go through the hood. So I'll just set up the bottom ones, get it into place, and start bolting it back together. Well, got them in. Had to fight them a little bit. As you can see here, I got a lot less piston exposed, which I'm okay with. I like down travel. Up travel, that should be plenty. I will have to put in some bump stops. As you can see, I don't have very much bump stop in there. I've got the extended uppers, but the lowers might need to add some pucks in so that way I don't kill the shock out. So finish bolting it in. Work. So may have to adjust these bolt size, so FYI. All right, so I was just gonna fast forward through me putting in the second shock on the driver's side, which is right under the brake master cylinder. By the way, you can't get a regular wrench in there like you can on the other side. You can't use a ratchet unless you got a flexor swivel head, which I have in my toolbox, but I'm just too lazy to go get, which I'm kind of now regretting. But now it's spinning. Attempt number 3. I keep having people call me on their Jeeps and stuff. We're planning a big trip to Moab here, Kirk Customs is. So we're trying to get all our Jeeps ready and stuff like that. I'll do a walk around in my Jeep in the next video, and I'll have other people in the clan's Jeeps and rigs and Toyotas and stuff like that up and rolling. But back to what I was saying. So these things tend to want to spin on you. So this is notched out so you can put a wrench on that and hold it in place so you can take this bottom nut off. It usually doesn't take too much force. Sometimes they're stubborn, sometimes they're easy. So we're gonna see what happens. Bolt's out of it. Now I just gotta pull down. So shock's out. Okay. Now, I get a lot of questions about how to measure shocks out. To be honest with you, what I like to do is do something like this, take the shocks out of it, put it on an RTI ramp or something, measure the distance from here to basically the middle of this mount, which is pretty much where the center of the eyelet's gonna sit, and that'll give you your shock measurement. I was comfortable with the 32-inch extended, that's full extension. I do have a long arm kit on mine, so it does flex a little bit better than the short arms. The short arms just kind of do the same thing, but 9 times out of 10 fitment for the short arms, especially since most people do up to 4.5 inches on a short arm kit before switching over to the long arm. The standard shocks work just fine. So all this oil's from steering gearbox leak. I'll fix that in another video, and I'll do a walk around. We're gonna do some readers, rigs, and I guess not readers, but clan members' rigs, all of Rural New Mexico's guys. We'll do a short video on each rig, get the build set up, what's working for them and how they do it. So this is an 8-inch coil in the front. I'm running the Rubicon 5.5-inch leaf springs with a 2.5-inch shackle drop in the back to get the 8 out of the back. Seems to be working for me pretty good now. I do got to relocate those shock brackets because they are hanging low and the shocks are definitely extending farther than they need to, and that should add, you know, about 3 or 4 inches right there, because I'm going to do the high clearances and I'm going to put them in a little bit, so that should save those. So let's get this other shock in, get this thing done. All right guys, shocks are in, looks good. I think I'm happy with it. As you saw in the other video, you know, the amount of stroke I had was clear down to here. I had a lot of exposed shock, and you know, I could fit 3 or 4 hands in here. Now I'm just shy of a hand of up travel, which is my personal preference. Like I said, I am running the twin tubes, not the monos. They're not the best shock in the world. These are the Rubicon Express models, like I said. But I'm not really a desert bomber or anything like that. I'm a creepy crawler. I like to crawl up stuff 3-4 miles an hour. So to me, the high-speed bouncing and fading isn't really something I need to worry too much about. You know, I drive it in town sometimes and stuff like that, but this isn't my daily driver. I don't drive it every single day. If I did, I'd probably definitely go with the monotube shocks. These twin tubes will be fine for what I need them for, and they're the only twin tube the only shock I could find in a stem to eyelet mount that I was looking for, in the length I was looking for. So I'll do a flex test on it in the next couple videos and let you know the before and afters. I've already got photos of before with the other shocks in here. Wasn't too impressive, nothing to be raising eyebrows at, but we'll see what this does. I'll take it down to 4-wheel parts. They have a RTI ramp or a flex ramp. I don't know the degree on their flex ramp, but I use it all the time, so that's how I'll determine whether the suspension increase, which I imagine it will. Before, the coils weren't even unloading. They weren't even close to coming unloading. Still an intense amount of pressure on them. So I know that the shocks were way too short, and they were definitely destroying themselves. Like I said, every time I go crawling or something, I'd bottom the shocks out or overextend them and bash the pistons into the top of the shock. So I'm hoping these will be a little bit better. And that's a wrap. This is Hernandez with Kirk's Customs. Thanks for watching.